He Tingji wants to divorce me so that he can be with my best friend, Qin Muzhao. That's when I found out that Qin Muzhao was He Tingji's first love. They had rekindled their relationship through work. I went from being furious to calm, and eventually agreed to the divorce. On the day we got the divorce certificate, Qin Muzhao wanted to take our daughter, Feng Qiao, who lived with me, but Feng Qiao glared at her angrily. No, I won't go with you. Not only He Tingji and Qin Muzhao were stunned, but I was also completely shocked. Even though I raised Feng Qiao myself, I never imagined that she would refuse to leave with Qin Muzhao. Embarrassed by Feng Qiao's refusal, Qin Muzhao's eyes turned red with anger. You're my daughter. If you won't come with me, do you really want to stay here? But Feng Qiao seemed like a bomb about to explode. She screamed hysterically at Qin Muzhao. Who wants to be your daughter? It's because of you that my uncle and aunt got divorced. I don't want a mother like you who destroys other people's families. Watching Feng Qiao cry, my heart ached terribly. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw my son, He Wei, standing at the door. His sad and resentful face also pierced my heart. He Wei used to be a cheerful and lively child, ever since the final exams ended a month ago. When I got home, I witnessed He Tingji proposing divorce to me because of Qin Muzhao. His sunny smile was replaced by a gloomy expression. There was no more laughter in this home. I had no idea what I had done to deserve such treatment from He Tingji. After graduating from college, I helped He Tingji start his business. During the company's growth period, I became pregnant and gave birth to He Wei. Since we were too busy, my in-laws came to help take care of the children, but within 2 years, my father-in-law was in a car accident and became disabled, while my mother-in-law was hospitalized due to heart problems. At that time, He Tingji was away on business negotiations. I had to take care of the children and the elderly, while also managing the company's affairs. I was completely exhausted, but I didn't want to interfere with He Tingji's business dealings, so I kept going on my own. After recovering from the hospital, my in-laws were too weak to help anymore. They didn't want to be a burden, so they moved back to the countryside. He Tingji persuaded me to leave the company for the sake of the children. Looking at the little child, I relented and agreed. Back then, He Tingji would help me with household chores and take care of the child every night, showing great concern for my difficulties. But when it came to divorce, his eyes were filled with disdain when he looked at me. Zhao Zhao can help me with business negotiations and attract investments. And you? What else can you do besides doing laundry and cooking? Qin Muzhao raised an eyebrow at me triumphantly, facing her provocative gaze. I felt more heartache than anger. After Qin Muzhao's husband passed away, she wanted to work elsewhere to earn more money, but since the child was still young, fearing she wouldn't have time to take care of him, she entrusted him to me, thinking of our years of friendship and the child's well-being. And since He Tingji agreed too, I relented. What I never expected was their betrayal, and He Tingji probably forgot that during the early days of our business, I also helped him with negotiations and investments, sometimes drinking until I passed out. From meeting each other, falling in love, getting married, to having children 20 years in total, I worked hard to nurture our little family. Yet in He Tingji's eyes, I became worthless. Qin Muzhao's reproachful tone pulled me back to reality. Su Man, how can you teach a child to say such things? Before I could respond, He Tingji agreed with Qin Muzhao. Su Man, I never thought you'd actually teach a child to reject their own mother. You're truly cruel, using a child to hurt Zhao Zhao. Watching the two of them working together against me, I couldn't help but laugh. I then remembered the day He Tingji proposed divorce to me, even though he promised to leave everything behind. I refused to divorce him out of spite. Qin Muzhao asked He Tingji to leave, under the pretext of wanting to talk to me alone. Then she began to humiliate me. If I hadn't broken up with He Tingji, there wouldn't be any problem between you two in the first place. That's when I learned that Qin Muzhao and He Tingji were each other's first loves. But I had been completely in the dark the whole time. After Qin Muzhao joined He Tingji's company, their old feelings flared up again at work. Qin Muzhao looked down at me with arrogance. Su Man, guess why Tingji never takes you out to meet his friends? A woman like you, who can only do laundry and cook, would only bring shame to Tingji if he took you out. I'm different. I can help Tingji land big projects, bring in money for his company, and help him save face. You have no chance against me. With your current appearance, no man would even want to buy you. Not to mention take you out. I stared intently at Qin Muzhao's flawless face. As peers, she still had smooth skin and a slender figure. If she walked on the street, she'd definitely catch everyone's attention. But right now, her face was the target of my hand, leaving a red mark with a loud slap. At the same time, the door opened. Qin Muzhao immediately threw herself into He Tingji's arms. On the verge of tears, when He Tingji saw the red marks on Qin Muzhao's face, he angrily slapped me as well. Su man, I've tried to be nice to you, but you're still stubborn and even hit Muzhao. You're truly despicable. I covered my face. Outraged by the cruel behavior of these two people, He Tingji simply stared at me coldly, his tone as icy as a -30-degree freezer. Today, I'm determined to get a divorce. I want to be with Muzhao no matter what you do to stop me. If you refuse, let's go to court. Unexpectedly, Fong Qiao and He Wei happened to come home from school at that moment. Hearing He Tingji's words, they stood frozen in the doorway. Looking at those stunned children, my heart softened. After the summer vacation, Fong Qiao would be in her final year of high school. He Wei would be starting freshman year. Continuing this conflict would only hurt those two children. With a choked voice, I said, "Fine. As you wish. You'll leave with nothing, and we'll get divorced. I don't need Ant-Man to teach me. I'm not a child anymore. I have eyes to see and a brain to think. What you're doing is shameful. I'll never forgive you." With that, Fong Qiao ran back to her room, locking the door behind her. No matter how Qin Muzhao and He Tingji knocked on the door, there was no response. I was worried that Fong Qiao might do something foolish out of desperation. I spoke up to stop them. "Qiao Qiao doesn't want to go with you. Please stop bothering her and leave now," Qin Muzhao cried, grabbing my sleeve. Her gaze seemed like it wanted to devour me. "You must have said something to her. That's why she refuses to even recognize me as her mother. Give me my daughter back." I impatiently shook off Qin Muzhao's hand and pushed her away. Qiao Qiao is 18 years old. She has her own thoughts and the ability to distinguish right from wrong. I went back to get the broom and pointed it at He Tingji and Qin Muzhao. "If you don't leave now, don't blame me for forcing you out." He Tingji angrily stood in front of Qin Muzhao, trying to say something else. But He Wei suddenly pushed him hard, catching him off guard. The once gentle boy now looked terrifying. "Didn't your mother tell you to leave? Get out of here. We don't want to see you either. Never want to see you." Before He Tingji and Qin Muzhao could react, He Wei pushed them both out the door. I put down the broom and walked over. He Wei stood with his back to me, crying violently, holding back my tears. I embraced him. "It's okay, my dear. It's all over now." But his tears still wet my shoulders. After comforting He Wei, I went to knock on Fong Qiao's door. "Qiao Qiao, they've all left. Can I come in?" Soon, the door opened. Fong Qiao's eyes were swollen from crying. "Ant-Man, I'm sorry." It was an apology that should have come from an adult. Yet it came from a child. My chest felt like it was choked by a stone. I couldn't breathe properly, and it hurt terribly. But in front of the child, I couldn't show any weakness. I tried to keep my voice steady. "Qiao Qiao, you're about to enter your final year of high school. What's most important now is to study hard. If you want to stay here, I'll never force you to leave. But remember, adult matters have nothing to do with you. Understand?" Fong Qiao nodded. But tears streamed down her face again. She quickly wiped them away. "Okay, Ant-Man, I'll listen to you. I'll study hard." Fong Qiao uses the summer vacation to review high school freshman level knowledge. He Wei, who's about to become a freshman himself, learns alongside her. I was worried that there might be tension between the siblings, but seeing them laughing and playing together, I realized my worries were unfounded. It was me, instead, who spent nights staring blankly at the ceiling, even after divorcing He Tingji. I couldn't stop thinking about him. I remember the hopeful look in his eyes when he knelt down to propose to me. I still hear his vows from our wedding. "I promised to be with you for life." When He Wei was born, he looked at me tenderly. Right after I gave birth. But then the memories changed. He Tingji forced me to divorce him, making me feel worthless. And I remember his cruel face when he slapped me to protect Qin Muzhao. Love and hate fought within my body like two opposing forces, tearing at my flesh and blood. The pain was so severe that tears streamed down my face. I watched as I grew weaker by the day. I also saw He Wei, who tried to comfort me but was at a loss as to how. I thought to myself, I couldn't go on like this. At least I shouldn't let the child worry. I needed to find something to do. Maybe if I kept busy, I wouldn't think about these unpleasant things. So, I followed cooking tutorials and recorded a video myself. But when I posted it online, hardly anyone watched it. As I was frustrated, Fong Chao suddenly came over. "Ant Man, you're making a video." I was startled and nodded after a moment. "May I take a look?" I handed her my phone. Puzzled, Fong Chao fiddled with the phone for over an hour before handing it back to me. "Ant Man, I've edited it for you. Please check it out." When I saw the video Fong Chao had made, I was overjoyed. It's not only smoother than the videos I made before, but it also looks much better. "Chow Chow, you know how to edit videos too. You did a great job." Chow Chow smiled shyly. "I participated in some events at school and learned a little on my own. By the way, pay attention to the angle when filming. That'll make the video look even better. Next time you shoot, bring me along so I can help with the editing." I started spending every day learning how to film and edit videos. With Chow Chow's help, the video views kept increasing, since the recipes were meant for high school students. Many mothers found them useful. Many people commented that their high school-age children ate more when they followed my recipes. I began working on new recipes. With more variety, more people watched my videos, and I got more likes. One day, I received a private message asking for a meeting regarding advertising cooperation. I've taken on a few advertising gigs before, but this was the first time someone wanted to meet in person. I thought maybe it was a scammer, but the meeting was scheduled in a public place like a cafe. I thought it wouldn't hurt to go and take a look. The man who arranged the meeting was a few years younger than me. Turns out, he was the operations director of a well-known kitchenware brand. After seeing my videos online, he wanted to establish a long-term advertising partnership with me. If I wasn't convinced, they had a flagship store where I could visit and learn more about their products. He seemed sincere, and we had a pleasant conversation. We also agreed on a time to visit the store together. Just as I was about to leave, I heard a familiar voice behind me. "President Jiang." Turning around, I saw He Tingji. He Tingji gave me a shocked glance. His eyes immediately shifted back to President Jiang, his tone now somewhat ingratiating. "I tried to arrange meetings with you several times before, but you were always busy. I never expected to run into you here. Is President Jiang in a hurry? If not, would you like to have a quick meal together?" But President Jiang merely smiled politely, his expression indifferent. "Unfortunately, I need to meet with a supplier. Next time I'm free, I'll treat you." With that, President Jiang smiled at me. "Miss Su, I'll be leaving now. See you next time." I smiled back. "See you next time." After President Jiang left, I had no desire to talk to He Tingji and turned to walk away. Suddenly, someone grabbed my arm. He Tingji frowned and asked, "You know President Jiang? Are you close?" I quickly pulled my arm away, stepping back to put some distance between us. I replied irritably, "What's it to you? Half a year has passed. It took me a long time to recover from the pain of divorce. Now, I really don't want anything to do with He Tingji." He Tingji was speechless, looking embarrassed. But then he suddenly changed the subject. "Next week is Zhao Zhao's birthday. Tell Xiao Zhao to come over for dinner." This time, it was my turn to frown. I glared at He Tingji. "Don't you have mouths of your own? Can't you go tell her yourselves?" I once again shut him up with my words. He Tingji's patience finally ran out. "Su man, do you have to be so rude? If it weren't for you, Xiao Zhao wouldn't even recognize her own mother. It's your responsibility to help them reconcile." I couldn't help but laugh. Are these two people trying to shift all the blame onto me? Come on, stop trying to put all the blame on me. With the things you've done, even a dog passing by would spit on you. I'm not blaming you two for ruining Bao Bao and Wei Wei's chances of studying. And yet, you still dare to blame me. I pushed He Tingji aside with my bag and walked past him. He Tingji wasn't convinced and kept cursing behind me. I ignored him. Wasting a word on such a worthless person would only make me seem inferior. But even when I ignored him, he kept approaching me. The spring festival was approaching, so I went to my usual supermarket to buy New Year's goods. There, I ran into He Tingji again. I thought it was bad luck and tried to act like I didn't see him. But He Tingji seemed to be aiming straight for me. He completely changed his usual arrogant attitude, and his tone sounded somewhat humble. "Su man, could you give me your video account? I was momentarily stunned. How did Hitingji know that I was managing a video account? But then I thought again. Although I never showed my face in the videos, Hitingji recognized our kitchen. But what right did he have to ask for my account? It took me over half a year to build up my account and finally get into the top ranks of the platform's food category. Who does Hitingji think he is to demand my account? I snorted in disdain. I looked at him as if he were some mentally deranged stranger. Sir, may I ask who you are? Hitingji probably picked up the sarcasm in my voice. But instead of insulting me like before, he pleaded with me in a humble tone. Su man. Our traffic has declined recently. Several of our brand partners have decided not to renew their ads. We need a top-tier account to regain their trust. Among the platform's new top accounts, only yours remains personal in nature. And your traffic is stable. Could you please do this for me? Although I've been away from the company for years and am no longer familiar with its operations, I remember very well how Hitingji behaved cruelly when he forced me to divorce him. No, I refused outright. Too lazy to argue with him, I just pushed my shopping cart away. Hitingji blocked my path. To stop the cart, I bumped my stomach against the handlebar. I gripped my waist, trying to ease the pain, but it still hurt terribly. I really wanted to curse at him. Hitingji. Are you crazy? He froze for a moment, then rushed over to help me up. Su man. Are you okay? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I shook my arm forcefully, making him let go of me. Get lost. Don't come to me again. The supermarket was filled with people shopping for New Year's goods. I struggled to push my heavy shopping cart through the crowd, finally managing to get rid of Hitingji. He didn't bother me anymore. Such a trivial matter wasn't worth worrying about. So I forgot about it. On New Year's Eve, I was busy preparing the dinner in the kitchen. Fong Qiao and He Wei also came to help me. When the food was ready, Fong Qiao clapped her hands excitedly. That's great. I can eat Ant-Man's chive and pork dumplings again. Due to her senior year exams, Fong Qiao only had a 1-week break. Chive and pork dumplings were her favorite dish, and the only one on the New Year's Eve meal. He Wei smiled without saying anything, then placed a shrimp dumpling in my bowl. Mom, you like shrimp? Eat more. Fong Qiao stepped forward with a smile and said, Ant-Man, Wei Wei peeled the shrimp shells today. He really put his heart into it. He Wei scratched his head sheepishly, looking at the dumplings in the bowl. My heart felt warm. No wonder He Wei ordered shrimp dumplings. She must have ordered them for me. Even though there were only the 3 of us at home, it felt livelier than when there were 30 people around. After dinner, Fong Qiao and He Wei went downstairs to watch the fireworks. I cleared the dishes away and was about to sit down and watch the Spring Festival Gala when I received a call from Hitingji's mother. When I divorced Hitingji, he asked me not to tell his parents yet, so as not to worry them. His in-laws had always been kind to me, and the 2 elderly people were very gentle. So, out of sympathy, I agreed to his request. But since I didn't spend the new year with Hitingji this year, what if I answered the phone and revealed the truth? I simply put my phone aside and ignored the call. Yet, the phone screen kept turning off and on again. If my mother-in-law called twice in a row, it must mean she really wanted me to answer the phone. What if I didn't answer? She might think something bad had happened to us, and that would worry her. When I picked up the phone, my mother-in-law's gentle voice came through. Man, Happy New Year. Mom, Happy New Year too. I tried calling Tingji earlier, but he didn't answer, so I called you instead. Isn't he at home? No wonder my mother-in-law called again. But I couldn't just say that I didn't live with Hitingji. I had to make up an excuse. Mom. He took Wei Wei and Xiao Jiao out to set off fireworks. Probably forgot his phone at home. I see. My mother-in-law chuckled softly. I don't really have anything special to say. It's just the new year. And you guys haven't called in ages. I wanted to know how you're doing. Before, I used to call my in-laws from time to time to see if they needed anything. After the divorce, I stopped calling altogether. But I hadn't realized that Hitingji hadn't called either. Perhaps it was I who used to take care of the elderly in the past, so they never developed this habit. Mom, we're fine. It's you who live in a cold house. Use the heating system I bought for you. The elderly always preferred to endure the cold rather than turn on the heating, just to save on electricity costs. The same was true in summer. They preferred using fans over air conditioning. They always thought about saving money, so that if anything happened to them, it wouldn't burden us younger generations. Grandma's voice remained gentle. We'll use it. Your dad and I will both use it. It's very warm. It must be busy for you during the new year. I won't say anything more. Manan. You're the one who works the hardest in this family. Take care of yourself. Tears streamed down my face. I'm an orphan with no parents. I grew up in an orphanage and have no idea what family warmth is. But after getting to know Hitingji, my in-laws treated me like their own daughter. They would call me during holidays. Every time I went to eat, there were always my favorite dishes on the table. No one ever asked me to help with the cooking. After marrying Hitingji, they told him that he should share more of the household chores with me, so that I wouldn't have to do everything alone. My father-in-law also said that as their daughter-in-law and a member of this family, it was only right for them to treat me well. That was the first time I experienced what family warmth really meant. I never imagined that this warmth would last for over a decade. I put down my phone, took a deep breath, wiped away the tears from my face, and then spoke up. Mom. Don't worry. I'll take care of myself. You guys should take care of yourselves too. My grandmother said a few more things before hanging up. I stared at the Spring Festival gala on TV. Although the show featured comedic skits, I couldn't laugh at all. Still, I wiped away my tears, removed Hitingji from my blacklist, and sent him a message. You didn't answer your mom's calls. She called me and asked where you were. I said you took Chow Chow and Wei Wei downstairs to set off fireworks. If she asks you again, don't let it slip out. I just wanted to give it a try anyway. After all, Hitingji might have blocked me, but no red exclamation mark appeared. Hitingji replied right away. Okay. But the typing message in the chat window remained visible. I blocked him again. If it weren't for my in-laws, I wouldn't bother with him at all. But the new year had just passed. Hitingji, along with Qin Muzhao, gave me a big gift. I was completely stunned to see a flood of hateful comments in my account's comments section. What confused me even more was that netizens were accusing me of stealing children from their parents. I thought you were a good mother since you seemed so attentive to cooking. If are your child. Turns out, you stole that child from its parents. Don't you have your own children? Why steal someone else's? You steal money meant for the child, and then tell the child that its real mother doesn't want it. How despicable. In the New Year's Eve video, the two children seemed very close to you. Are you just using them to create the image of a good mother? During New Year's Eve, I recorded a video of cooking. At the end, I showed clips of giving red envelopes to Feng Qiao and He Wei. But I didn't show their faces. My intention was to share the warmth of my family with everyone. I never expected it to become a platform for attacking me. I had no idea what was going on. All I could do was endure the insults in the comments and try to find out what actually happened. Eventually, I traced the origin of the accusations to a video. When she offered to help me take care of our child, I was afraid of troubling her and wanted to refuse. But I worked in another city, and she was my best friend, someone I knew very well. So I trusted her and even sent her most of my monthly salary. I never expected that over the years, she would brainwash our child, telling him that I didn't give him enough money, that I abandoned him, and that I didn't want him anymore. As a result, the child now thinks I really do not want him. Now that I want to bring him back home, he refuses to recognize me. All I hope is that she'll give me my child back. He's my own baby, born after 10 months of pregnancy. Please, give him back to me. The video's caption included a link to my account. After watching the video, I was furious. Even though the person in the video had their face blurred, I recognized Qin Muzhao from the slight scar on her neck and her voice. And the child she mentioned was Feng Qiao. In anger, I threw my phone aside. Qin Muzhao's words were completely twisted and misleading. It was actually she who begged me to take care of their child. As for that money supposed to cover living expenses each month, I never received it at all. Each time, she only gave me 500 or 1,000 yuan, a pitiful amount. The child kept growing, and expenses kept rising. I understood that it wasn't easy for Qin Muzhao to make money outside, so I didn't say anything. But now, I realize I should have demanded payment from her. But after getting angry, I calmed down and started to think, why did Qin Muzhao suddenly do this? Could it be because of Feng Qiao? Or was there some other reason? Suddenly, I received a message from President Jiang on my phone. What's going on with those online comments? That's when I realized that netizens had started criticizing the advertisement video I posted earlier. Some even went to the brand's social media accounts and demanded that the brand be boycotted, saying that they wouldn't trust a brand that didn't even do background checks on its advertisers. President Zhang's brand collaborates with Mine the most. They post an ad every 3 to 5 days, which is why their brand gets the most criticism. President Zhang, please give me some time. I'll handle this. My phone started vibrating non-stop. It was one after another. Strange numbers. Needless to say, these calls were definitely meant to insult me. If they could figure out my phone number, it wouldn't be long before they found my home address and other personal information. I fell into deep thought once again. I could clarify everything online regarding He Tingji and Qin Muzhao's betrayal of me, but doing so would definitely affect Feng Qiao and He Wei, especially Feng Qiao. She has a few months left before the college entrance exams, and she can't be affected by this. The best solution right now is to have Qin Muzhao come forward and deny everything she said, but she'll never agree to that. It seems the only person who can make her do this is He Tingji. I went back to my room, grabbed my computer, and found the surveillance footage from home. I played the video from the day He Tingji and Qin Muzhao came to talk to me about divorce. He Tingji is a man who cares a lot about his reputation. He certainly wouldn't want the whole world to know that he forced his wife to divorce him just as he could be with his first love. This video can help me force He Tingji to make Qin Muzhao clarify the situation. Thankfully, I've kept this video on file for just such a moment. I was worried that if they tried to do something, I'd at least have a way to counter them. But before I could even make a call, my phone received a message. Feng Qiao had posted something. Hello everyone. I am the daughter who was allegedly robbed in the video. In fact, it wasn't my mother who stole me from me. It was actually my own mother who did it. She stole her best friend's husband and ruined someone else's family. That's why I don't want to go back with her at all. I feel very ashamed. My mother is a person who destroys others' families. Auntie is a really nice person. She suffered greatly because of this incident, but still decided to forgive me and let me stay at home. She even told me to study hard. So I respect her very much. And I'm also grateful to her. Please don't misunderstand her anymore. And stop criticizing her. Thank you all. I checked the time. Today is Friday. So Feng Qiao doesn't need to attend evening self-study sessions. It's already time for school to end. High school students aren't allowed to bring phones to school. I wonder whose phone she used to send those long messages. I'm worried about Feng Qiao's situation. So I'm going to go to school to find her. The door suddenly opened. It was He Wei who had returned. He looked downcast and worried. I rushed forward and asked, "Where's your sister? Why isn't she with you?" Usually, they came home together after school. The fact that only He Wei was there made me even more anxious. He Wei didn't say anything, but someone else entered behind him. It was Feng Qiao. My worried heart immediately settled down. But then, I noticed there was someone else behind her. Seeing my father-in-law with a crutch and my mother-in-law carrying luggage bags, I was stunned and couldn't react for a moment. It wasn't until my mother-in-law came over and hugged me that I realized it really was them. Manan. Our He family is sorry for this. Her voice was filled with tears and remorse. I let out a sigh, patted her back gently to comfort her, then broke free from her embrace. When I looked at my father-in-law, his eyes also showed deep guilt. Dad, Mom, come in and sit down. Don't stand there. Only after everyone sat down did I realize that they had also seen the video in the countryside. At first, they didn't think much of it, but then they noticed that on the bookshelf in the video was a wooden carving that He Tingji had made himself as a child. As He Tingji's parents, they recognized the carving instantly. It was a piece he had created during an art festival when he was young, and he had always treasured it. Logically, that carving should have been in our living room. Something seemed off. So they rewatched the video several times until they realized the voice of the person speaking sounded familiar. They had met Qin Muzhao a few times before, and gradually remembered that voice as hers. It was then that they realized the child mentioned in the video was Feng Qiao, and that I was the one accused of taking the child away. They hurriedly packed their things and rushed from the countryside. Downstairs, they found Feng Qiao crying uncontrollably. Only then did they learn that He Tingji and I had already divorced, and it was He Tingji and Qin Muzhao who betrayed me together. Man. You should have told your father and me earlier about the shameful things Tingji has done. We really. Grandma suddenly choked up on her words. Even Grandpa let out a sigh before continuing Grandma's sentence. Man. Don't worry. Your mother and I are here. We'll definitely take care of this. But at this point, there's nothing more that can be done. I just hope everything online will stop now. Especially when I see Feng Chao crying with swollen eyes, and He Wei patting her back to comfort her while also sighing. It breaks my heart. What Qin Muzhao has done really harms those two children. The atmosphere in the living room was oppressive and dull. It wasn't until someone knocked on the door that the silence was broken. I'll go open the door. Due to exhaustion. I moved slowly and with difficulty. The person outside seemed impatient, knocking louder with each attempt. When I opened the door, I saw He Tingji, staring at me angrily. Su Man, how could you let Xiao Xiao post those things online? No matter what. One shouldn't slander their own mother like that. How do you even raise a child like this? Or did you force Xiao Xiao to post those things? I was already annoyed by all the negative publicity throughout the day. He Tingji's harsh words only made me angrier. He Tingji, why don't you ask Qin Muzhao? If it weren't for her distorting the truth online, why would Xiao Xiao need to post those things to clear my name? Before criticizing how I raise my child, you should learn to behave like decent people first. He Tingji glared at me angrily. Before he could say anything in response, I was interrupted. You shut up. Then, there was the sound of a cane hitting the floor twice. He Tingji's expression changed completely, from surprise to anger. It all happened in an instant. Su Man, why are Mom and Dad here? Did you tell them about us? What did you promise me back then? How could you go back on your word? You're too much. I closed my eyes, speechless. I didn't know when it had become so exhausting to talk to this person, even though I hadn't said anything yet. He Tingji would blame me for everything. It seemed like as long as I was at fault, that would somehow make his mistakes go away. Or maybe, he always believed he was right and I was the one who was wrong. It wasn't Man who told us to come. My grandmother also stepped forward. Beside my grandfather, her voice, unlike its usual gentleness, was extremely cold. We saw the video online and decided to come over. I just now realized the mess you've caused. How could you do this? You've hurt our hearts. Man's heart. And especially the child's heart. My grandmother's voice trembled with suppressed tears. I couldn't help but pat her back. Mom. It was Su Man who refused to let Xiao Xiao recognize her as Mom. That's why Zhao Zhao posted those complaints online. I never expected it to cause such a big reaction. If Su Man had returned Xiao Xiao to her real mother, none of this would have happened. He Tingji said this while glancing at me disapprovingly. But my grandmother was so angry that her lips trembled. She slapped He Tingji across the face. How can you say such things? Don't you know why Qin Muzhao's child ended up with Man? It's clearly your fault. Yet you blame Man instead. How could your father and I raise such a shameless son? He Tingji clenched his lips, clearly unwilling to accept blame. But I heard my grandmother's breathing becoming increasingly rapid. Alarm bells rang in my mind. No. The next moment, I saw my grandmother clutching her chest and collapsing backward. Fortunately, He Wei held her up, so my mother-in-law didn't fall completely to the ground. He Tingji was panicked, and my mind went blank. Everyone rushed around my mother-in-law, creating complete chaos. In the end, I regained my composure and rushed to the sofa to grab my phone and call an ambulance. After my mother-in-law was taken into the operating room, Qin Muzhao arrived as well, but without hesitation. She slapped Feng Chao across the face. Ungrateful wench. You're my daughter, yet you help strangers. Feng Chao covered her face, tears streaming down her face in frustration. I pulled her behind me and gave Qin Muzhao a hard slap in return. I should have done that long ago. If it weren't for the children, I wouldn't have tolerated it any longer. Qin Muzhao stared at me in disbelief. Su Man, how dare you hit me? She tried to strike me again, but He Tingji held her back. Enough. The grandfather, sitting in his chair, tapped his crutch on the floor. Silence filled the room outside the operating room. The grandfather looked at Qin Muzhao with cold eyes. Miss Qin, none of us want to see you. Please leave. Qin Muzhao was both upset and resentful. After glancing at me, she pitifully tugged at He Tingji's sleeve, but He Tingji told her to go home first. She opened and closed her mouth, seemingly wanting to say something, but in the end, she just stomped her foot in anger and left. The room fell back into terrifying silence. It wasn't until the lights were turned off and the doctor came out saying that the grandmother had suffered a heart attack but was fine now due to prompt treatment. That the tension eased. I wanted the grandfather to go home and rest, but he insisted on staying with his wife. Gitingji decided to stay with him as well. But before leaving, I couldn't help but pull Gitingji into the stairwell and slap him hard. Gitingji seemed somewhat stunned, as if he hadn't expected me to hit him. Don't think I don't know. You and Qin Muzhao caused all this online just to ruin my account. You're really something, unable to get what you want, so you decide to destroy it instead. But do you even realize that by doing this, you might also destroy Qiao Qiao? I was so angry that my whole body trembled. While they tried to ruin me through the internet, they were also exposing us all to the public eye. Even without Feng Qiao's long post, given how quickly people spread rumors, someone would eventually uncover the truth. As Qin Muzhao's daughter, Feng Qiao would also suffer, being mocked for having a mother like me. Gitingji remained silent for a long time. Then his eyelids drooped, his expression full of helplessness. Su Man, believe it or not, I only found out after Zhao Zhao posted the video. She thought that if your account got involved in negative publicity, it might be restricted or even banned. At least then, we'd lose one less competitor. But if you'd persuaded Qiao Qiao to go home earlier, things wouldn't have gotten this far. He couldn't help but interrupt him sharply. Do you still think I'm the one who stopped Qiao Qiao from going home? I suddenly felt utterly helpless. I let out a long sigh. Yes. In your eyes and those of Qin Muzhao, you're never wrong. It's always someone else who's at fault. I choked up and smiled self-deprecatingly. But I was indeed wrong. Gitingji suddenly raised his eyes, his dark pupils filled with confusion. I shouldn't have accepted your confession. I shouldn't have stayed with you in that 20 square meter rental apartment and helped you start your business. I shouldn't have agreed to give up my career and go home to take care of the children just so you all didn't have to worry about anything. I closed my eyes, overwhelmed with sorrow. Tears finally streamed down uncontrollably. When I opened my eyes again, I sniffled and wiped the tears from my face. Gitingji, do you know what I thought after divorcing you? I regretted being with you. Gitingji's eyes suddenly reddened, his gaze filled with remorse. When we first started our business, Gitingji used his meager savings to buy me a simple ring. He felt guilty and asked if I regretted following him. But back then, thinking about building a future together with Gitingji, I found even the hardships sweet. So I said without hesitation that I regretted nothing. But after the divorce, every night, staring at the ceiling, I kept thinking, I regret it. At that time, there were several people who were interested in me. I always wondered, what if I had chosen them instead? Or what if I had decided to make my own way alone? Would the outcome have been different from what it is now? But there's no remedy for regret in this world. All we can do is move forward. Half a month later, my in-laws were discharged from the hospital. I wanted to keep them there until they fully recovered, but they insisted on leaving. Manan, we don't want to be a burden to you. Besides, Tingji did something wrong to you. How can we possibly stay here? My in-law secretly wiped away her tears. Gitingji's expression also turned sad and filled with guilt. After seeing my in-laws off, I was about to leave when Gitingji grabbed my arm. Manan, can we talk? I pulled my arm away forcefully. There's nothing to talk about. Without another word, I walked away, ignoring Gitingji behind me. It was 3 months before I heard anything from Gitingji again. After Feng Qiao posted that long article, the comments section under Qin Muzhao's video posts became chaotic. It turned out that Gitingji and Qin Muzhao had been having an affair behind my back before we got divorced. I learned this from Gitingji's business partner later. She had hesitated whether to tell me or not. But after he couldn't stand Gitingji always obeying Qin Muzhao and decided to end their partnership. She heard that we had divorced. She regretted not telling me earlier, thinking it might have lessened the hurt I suffered. But I understand her. To her, it was someone else's private matter. If it were me, I'd probably find it hard to bring it up too. Public opinion changed. I became the one who deserved sympathy. In fact, the sales of the products I advertised even doubled. And because Gitingji got involved in negative publicity, all the brands that hired him to do advertising faced boycotts. And there were also returns from customers. Perhaps they realized the situation wasn't going well. Qin Muzhao actually took all the company's money and ran away. But that money was borrowed from banks by the company. In the end, the company had to go bankrupt and pay off its debts. So when Gitingji came to me, I thought he wanted to borrow money from me, but instead, he gave me money. I'm going to work elsewhere. This is Weiwei's living expenses. Please keep it for now. Once I've settled down in my new place, I'll send you more money. But I refused to accept it. Aren't you still in debt? That's why I couldn't accept the money. After all, it was money of unknown origin. During the company's liquidation, I sold all my accounts, paid off most of the debts, and borrowed some money from my parents. I've settled everything now. Where did you get this money then? Did your parents give it to you? I became even more worried. I absolutely couldn't accept money from those two elderly people. Gitingji seemed to notice my concern and hurriedly explained. Don't worry. I earned this money by delivering food. I was stunned. No wonder Gitingji looked so tired, his eyes were swollen, his beard messy, and he seemed utterly exhausted. I glanced at the thick envelope on the table. It must have taken him over 10 hours a day delivering food to earn that much money. I pushed the envelope back toward him. Weiwei wouldn't want me to accept this money. Give it to me when you've settled down somewhere else. Wei knew how Gitingji was doing right now. As a son, he wouldn't accept any money from his father during such difficult times. Gitingji stared blankly at the envelope, lost in thought. I had no time to waste on his hesitation. So I stood up. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving now. Only then did Gitingji come back to his senses. Manon, he called out to me. If Weiwei agrees, would you get back together with me? Suddenly, the question Weiwei asked me some time ago came to mind. Mom, will you get back together with Dad? To respect my child's opinion, I asked back. Do you want us to get back together? Weiwei smiled helplessly. Mom, I'm asking you. Why is it you who's asking me now? I just hope you can do what you really want to do, without being forced to choose something you don't want because of me or anyone else. I hadn't expected my son to say such things. I decided to be honest with him too. Okay, then I'll tell you. No, after all, a good horse doesn't eat the grass from where it came. Weiwei sighed in relief and patted his chest. Phew, that's a close call. I really didn't want you to choose him again. I couldn't help but laugh and asked curiously. Why? Just like you said. A man must have a sense of responsibility. A family is the first responsibility a man must take on. In my eyes, he's no longer a man. You shouldn't choose him. You deserve a better man. It was then that I realized my son had truly grown up. I also remembered that day in the hospital, when Qin Muzhao and I argued, and Weiwei stood protectively in front of me. It seems Gitingji had asked my son for his opinion before coming to me. I wonder what Weiwei replied with. Since it made Gitingji think there might still be a chance for us to get back together, I smiled gently and turned to face Gitingji calmly. No, my son wouldn't agree either. Ignoring Gitingji's disappointed expression, I walked out of the cafe with firm steps. The heavy rain earlier seemed to clear the sky of all gloom. A beautiful rainbow appeared in the azure sky, as if celebrating my new beginning. On the day of the college entrance exam, Weiwei and I accompanied Feng Qiao to school. Weiwei encouraged her. Sis, keep it up. You can do it. I patted Feng Qiao's head. Just relax and do your best. Feng Qiao seemed to gain tremendous courage and nodded firmly. Weiwei and I waited outside until the exam was over. On the day the results were announced, the three of us sat in front of the computer, constantly refreshing the page. When the results appeared, Feng Qiao screamed. Her score was 8 points higher than her best previous score, enough to get her into Beijing University. I crossed my hands in prayer. Thank goodness all the recent troubles at home hadn't affected her. Feng Qiao hugged me, crying. Ant-Man, thank you, thank you. I stroked her hair. You should thank yourself for getting through all this. Feng Qiao let go of me, wiped her tears away, and smiled as she patted Weiwei's shoulder. And you too, my dear brother. Weiwei scratched his head awkwardly. I don't think I did anything wrong. Didn't you ask me to go play badminton with you? It's a great way to relieve stress. Hearing Feng Qiao's words, Weiwei became even more embarrassed. Actually, no one wanted to go with me. That's why I asked you. Realizing she had been treated as a backup option, Feng Qiao got so angry that she chased Weiwei around the house. Weiwei begged. No, sister, I was just joking. Please let me go. But Feng Qiao wouldn't stop, continuing to chase after him. I won't let you go. I couldn't help but laugh so hard I almost collapsed. It took a while before I could straighten up and stop the fight between them. All right. Let's go out for dinner. Both of them came over to me. I put my left arm around Hiwei and my right arm around Fong Qiao. Let's eat your favorite pizza and roasted chicken. The brother and sister exchanged glances and smiled, hugging my shoulders. And your favorite ice cream too. We left the house amidst laughter and joy. From now on, may our home always be filled with laughter and happiness. The end.